here at WKRG Plus. Join us on the Red Couch.
Hello, everybody. The Wilcox County area has some world-renowned quilt makers. And not only is making a quilt a way to express yourself, but it's also a way to highlight a community's culture. Here on the Red Couch to talk to us about the value behind a quilt and what it means to them is Doris Pettway Brown and Kisha Pettway Porcher. Ladies, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we are talking specifically today about the quilts that were made in Gee's Bend, Alabama. And this is just such an area that's rich in history,
Yes,
right
it is.
near Camden, Alabama. So if you're not familiar, that's about 2.5 hours away from Mobile. And we've got some quilts here that were made by Doris, your grandmother and your great-grandmother.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about these.
My grandmother, Martha Jane Pettway, was a renowned designer and quilter. She had people that came in from New York, Connecticut, that would buy her quilts and take them back. And she also had people who would make orders for quilts, and they would give her like a down payment on the quilt, and she would quilt it, and then she would mail those quilts to them in New York. For a while, she had also some quilts that was in the Smithsonian for a while that was on display. But this one right here, the red and black one, that's one, that's a corduroy that you hear a lot about. The corduroy quilt was pieces that they brought to the co-op in Boykin, Alabama, where they just dumped them in there, and people would go to the co-op and gather pieces and take them home to make quilts out of it. And the pieces were donated by Sears and Roebuck after they did a lot of their sewing, and they didn't put them in the dumpster, so they brought them there. So we had people from all over the community would go in and pick up pieces.
Wow. And this one is kind of interesting. This one was a dress.
Yes.
This piece right here.
Just this piece right here. So this was your great-grandmother's dress.
Yes,
Right.
and she's actually wearing the dress in her bio in the book.
Yeah, so this is a book called The Art of Quilt Making, and it's just fascinating to hear about all the different styles. The quilt making of Gee's Bend, the connection is interesting to Mobile's Africatown community and to the Clotilda. Tell us about that.
So my 3 times great grandmother Dinah Miller was said to be on the Clotilda, and she was actually sold to someone in Snow Hill. The Clotilda, for those that don't know, is the last illegal slave ship that came into Mobile, Alabama. And she was sold to Snow Hill. She was sold to someone in Snow Hill, and her and her husband ended up in Gee's Bend. And she was said to have started the quilt making. And then in, I believe, the 30s or something like that, the Red Cross came in and they basically took a bunch of pictures, and my family became famous for quilting and being self-sufficient.
Well, that's it. And it wasn't just about being beautiful, because these quilts are beautiful and they are artistic. But Doris, there was a reason. I mean, this was out of necessity that they were making these quilts.
It was because the quilt making also provided myself with covering, like for the summer. The lighter weight quilt will keep the mosquitoes off of you. And then in the wintertime, we'll have heavier quilts. And those quilts was made out of the blue jean fabric, and those were used most in the wintertime to keep you warm. Because we didn't have fans, we had old pot belly stove. We cooked on an old pot belly, on an old stove in the kitchen. And when I was growing up, for a long time, we didn't have a refrigerator or indoor toilet. We had outdoor toilet. I'm 68 years old, so I remember all of that.
Wow.
I was in high school before we even got into plumbing. So everything that we have, it was out of necessity. Like my granddad was a farmer, so he would take the sacks that came from the feed or the sacks that came from the fertilizer. We would take those and put them in an old pot-belly pot, and we would boil those until the water got clear. And then my grandmother would take those and make slips and pajamas out of them for us. As a matter of fact, I have a sewing machine at my house. She has it's an old pedal that you move with your feet. I have it at my house right now that it's still operational.
Gosh. And so you keep hearing these stories. Now,
I've heard them all.
Yeah, so you're not a quilter yourself.
I am a quilter, but I haven't done it in a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
I was going to say, I mean, to
I'm
have
more
that,
of a family historian than a quilter.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know, but you'd almost have to with this rich history. What's it like to go to G's Bend? There's a museum there.
Oh, it's magic.
Uh-huh.
It's magic. Since I was a little kid, going to G's Bend, I literally just put this on my Facebook page that I love going to G's Bend. But they put a museum in. They're trying to make it more of a tourist spot now, but for a long time it was just really us going in. But now anybody can go, and you can do a tour with Mary's Dirt Road Tour. But they have a museum for the festival. They'll be having the exhibit, the Dinah Miller exhibit is this year.
Oh, and
for
that's your-
exhibition.
Yes.
That's what they're going to have at the museum for the festival this year. But they have a museum at the Welcome Center. The ferry is now operational, so you can ride the ferry. Like I said, we have a descendant that does a dirt road tour, so you can basically get on the cart and he'll take you around to the quilter's house in the community, and you can meet some of the quilters and talk to them. And
that would be something. I mean, I would love to do that with my family and my children.
Absolutely, come down.
Yeah,
We'd love to have you.
You just go. Is there a way to find it on the website and you can book the tour?
Yes, you can go
online,
to gsbend.org. Visit G's Bend if you want to just Google it. Visit G's Bend, and it basically will take you. You can register for the festival. You can find out how to get there when it's not festival time, just on a regular random day. Yeah. You can go to Mary's Dirt Road Tour and book a tour, and he'll take you around the neighborhood. Like I said, any time of the year.
What?
Oh, so Devin, if you want to go, just call me.
Call my
Yes.
auntie. Call us.
And I'll show you around.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. And how often do you go back? Because that's where you grew up.
Yes, that's home for me.
Yes.
Our house is still there.
We still go
every
up
chance we
twice a
get,
year.
we go there. Matter of fact, my nephew has a trailer that he put there that we can stay in also. But my family house, the house that my grandmother and my mother lived, that house was the first house that was built on the community. It has the number 1 that's on the front of the house. My mother was the first one that was born in the community once when the government decided that there was going to build houses and get them out of the log cabin that they was in. As a matter of fact, it's a picture there of the old log cabin that my grandmother used to live in, and then the house is right next to it. And so all of that is really nice to go back and know that this is the house where I was born.
Yes.
This is the house where my mother was born, and it's still sitting there today.
That is so neat. And did your grandmother talk to you about quilting? And I mean, I know she was doing it out of necessity, but did she ever think, she's not living?
No. She died at 104 years old.
Oh, wow.
2003.
Oh, 2000. Okay, so did she talk to you about, did she ever dream that these quilts would be in the Smithsonian and be in a museum? And did she realize the cultural significance of what she was doing?
I think before she died, she did.
With us. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Not with them, with us.
I think she did with us also.
Oh, she did with us.
I remember
a lot. Yeah.
one year when I was living in Mobile, and I went back to visit her every year for my vacation. That's where I would go. Because she used to have a saying that, I raised you from a puppy to a dog, but you don't ever come and see me. So I make sure that I go and visit her more often than she would be expected. Sometimes I would just pop up and she would see me. But at one year, this lady came to buy a quilt. And while I was there, she had all the quilts that were tucked in the shelf around. And so we just throwing out quilts. And the lady began to tell her about this is the quilts that we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do with them. So with that being said, I was included with part of the conversation of how the quilts was going to be going all over the world, because I don't even remember who the lady was, but I remember that she was out of New York.
Okay.
And that she was telling her about where she was going to take the quilts and what she was going to be doing with them.
Okay.
How she was going to be showing it to her other friends, and they're probably going to come with her the next summer to also buy quilts from her.
Okay. And so you say you remember your great-grandmother talking to you about the quilts.
Yeah, she talked to us a lot about the quilts and the significance of the quilts in our history. She made sure that we all knew where we came from and who we were and what the significance of their community and the people from the community. It was more, she made sure that we knew about the people and the community and the history of the actual community, not the quotes.
Yes.
So,
Well, I mean, and the history is just incredible when you think about it was cut off. I mean, they were brought there
For
as
40
slaves,
years.
and they burnt the ferry.
Right.
And so it was very hard to get to Gee's Bend.
Right.
So they really had to be survivalists and figure out how to make
They
it.
had to do everything themselves because they couldn't get in, they couldn't get out, and so they had to make quilts to keep warm and grow their own food, and yeah, they made everything. They were self-sufficient for very many years in Gee's Bend.
Oh yeah. So do you quilt much anymore, Miss Doris?
No, not right now, but I'm more or less like do a lot of alterations. Yeah,
But you could. I mean,
I still have my quilting frame. I still have pieces that I started. A matter of fact, we're doing the block. Kisha probably tell you more about the blocks that we all making a block to send back to Connecticut, and there's going to be like a group quilt that's going to be on display.
Oh, I love the idea
Yeah.
of that. Where
Yeah.
will that one be on display?
It will be in Connecticut
Oh, up
at
there.
a library. I believe it's the
Oh,
library.
I love the idea of different people contributing.
Yes.
Because a
to
lot
a
of
quilt.
us migrated to Connecticut and New York and all of that.
Oh,
So
okay.
so what they did was they took some of the quilters from Gee's Bend, some of the quilters from the descendants, I guess I should say.
yeah.
Some of the descendants and the quilters from Gee's Bend, Mobile, Connecticut, and New York, and we all got pieces that they had donated, and we are putting together a piece, and they're going to put the piece together, and it's going to be like a community.
That's so
Yeah, I'm working on mine, so I have not completed.
Yeah,
I haven't even pulled mine out the bag.
that's okay. You will, and it just makes me think. I feel like the art is dying. Just and it's the history that's tied up in these quilts. We should all think about quilting as a way to
Absolutely.
kind of be remembered by, or it's just kind of a lost art, and that's why it's so important that you guys are here today sharing the stories of these quilts, and so that people can see where you came from, and just how important your community is and was. And it's exciting to think that we could go back as a tourist and visit Gee's Bend and learn
Absolutely.
about our history.
Right.
So really fascinating stuff. All right, well, Doris Pettway Brown and Kisha Pettway Porcher, thank you so much for coming in and being our
you.
guest on the Red Couch today. We
It's a
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Do you use these?
I do use those.
Okay.
She does.
And once when I retire, I'm going to teach some classes on quilting.
Oh, that's a
But
great idea.
Yeah, I will. I will get to it, but I'm still working for another year, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming in. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.